Yes, with a moment, I'm going to the beginning.
Yes.
So, can you hear us?
Yes, very well.
Do you manage our presentation on your screen?
Just a moment, because we can't find your presentation. Okay. Okay, it's okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, hello from Vienna to Bologna, and I wish you an exciting afternoon. It's late in the day, but I think it's interesting, and you have a good afternoon. Due to our flights canceling, in fact, of bad weather, is this the only way to be with you in this conference? To the topic of today, our presentation about the Austrian National Health Record is to say, my name is Wolfgang Zemlyak. I'm the service manager in the Federal Computing Center. Beside me is Mr. Christian Gruber. He's my product manager in this in this vicinity, and we are responsible for all components of the electronic Gesundheitsakte provided in our Federal Computing Center. Please to the next site, to the flip number 3 with the heading Facts and Figures in Austria. I have a question. Can you move the camera a little upward so I can see the flip on your screen to synchronize our speech with the screen on your side? Yes, perfect. So, as a facts and figures from the Austrian healthcare system, we have 8.4 million population in Austria equipped with the e-card. This is an identity card used in Austria. We have 266 hospitals, which are the leading group of healthcare providers in the first step to connect the Austrian systems to the Austrian National Healthcare Record. We have medical doctors in the hospitals, about 22,000. You see the care personnel. Important are the pharmacies with 2,250 organizations, because these pharmacies are now in a small region in a beta testing. This beta testing, called in Austria e-medication, started 2 weeks ago. And we will see what are the results in the September of this year. The financing of this healthcare system in Austria is a dual financing system. All services from the hospitals are financed with federal entities. The services from the other healthcare professionals are financed with the social insurances. What changed in Austria in the healthcare? The first one is patient empowerment. The patients want to have more information about their own documentation. They are more equivalent to use IT and new kind of information. On the other hand, the focus on the healthcare providers, we see there is much more interdisciplinary and multi-professional care in the vicinity to come together. And also we see the investments in the healthcare IT, they are growing, especially in the next upcoming decades. And these investments, they have to be channeled and to be tracked for bringing it at the right way. In Austria, we have the situation that the elektronische Gesundheitsakte, called ELGA, is a health politics decision. It's in our healthcare reform integrated, and the most important thing, the ELGA is in Austria the backbone infrastructure for future services from ELGA or from eHealth, for eHealth applications. Please, next slide. Yeah, and the ELGA, why ELGA? We have seen, you have in Austria, I think, since 2000, e-medication and document data at the hospital information systems, but you didn't have the chance to bring the information together. The information stood there where it had created, but couldn't go the way to other hospital information systems. So the elektronische Gesundheitsakte is a net over the hospital information systems to bring the information together. And this to bring together means collaboration of services, integration of services, of information bases. With this bring together, we saw we are the opinion that we can improving the quality of diagnostics and therapeutic decisions, because the information of the electronic e-record documents are just in time in place to be used through other HCPs. The one topic, e-medication, is also a big topic. We can exchange informations about allergies and medications in electronic form, in structured electronic form, for usage through other healthcare providers who are in treatment with the patient. And one very important part is to standardize clinical documents. Years ago, you could get in Austria clinical documents, also called in German Entlastungsbrief, and this document looked one way in the software of healthcare provider 1, and looked in the other way in the software of healthcare provider 2. Through ELGA, we had a big standardization in Austria, so we know how it looks, how the structures of the documents. On the next flips, we will get these informations. So the ELGA overview architecture, I said, the hospital information systems are in place since 2000. The data of the hospital information systems are in these ELGA areas, but ELGA is the part at the top of the architecture. ELGA are these central components. You have one component called the master patient index. You have one component called the healthcare provider index. You have one big component, that's the access management system, and one component, the protocol system. These central components are the main part of ELGA. We have a small application at the site. It's called the gateway, the access gateway, and this access gateway is a software given in the computing centers of the provider of the hospital information systems, and this access gateway is the connector to the electronic Gesundheitsakte. Next flip. ELGA players in Austria, I say we have the big three players. One player is the Federal Ministry of Health. The second player is the main association of Austrian social security institutions. And the third player is the unity of the provinces with their hospital associations. And these three players, they founded the agency called ELGA GmbH, and this agency is a so-called construction agency responsible only for the project business, not for the provider business. For providing of ELGA, there are three service providers in Austria. The first provider is the Bundesrechenzentrum, called Federal Computing Center. It's our company. The second provider is the Sozialversicherungs Chipkarten Betriebs- und Errichtungs GmbH, and the third provider is the IT Services der Sozialversicherungs GmbH. On the next flip, we have a small graphic. You see all that black boxes are the components provided from the Federal Computing Center. The green box is the main patient index, is provided at the ITSV, and the yellow ones, these services are provided at the SVC. You see also that ELGA is structured in three layers. The layer 1, it's the central components layer, that's the pure ELGA. The layer 2, it's the layer with connection from the Anbindungsgateway, that's the access gateways, and the ELGA areas. And the layer 3, that's the layer where the client systems are positioned. These client systems can be hospital information systems, can be also local software solutions for doctors, can be radiology software solutions, whatever. So please to flip number 10. Information communication without ELGA, you have a mesh of informations and interactions, and it's often the patient who's often enough the postman of his own clinical documents to bring the documents to the point where the documents are needed. Next flip, please. With ELGA, we have the situation that we change the transactions to a pull information, and through this pull information we are independent of time and place, and the healthcare provider can get the information where and when they need the information, and the patient can also get information. That's a novum, because in former times the patient could get the information of his documentation in paper, seldom in electronic form. Here, the patient have an own way to his information about the so-called Gesundheitsportal. So the ELGA use cases, we focused on simple use cases. The first use case is the making of clinical documents available, the so-called e-reports. The second use case is making the e-medication data available. And the third part is general, how do I manage the authentication of health service providers and patients? How can I make the access control and logging to have a sharp focus on security? Because in Austria there's the black cloud in the sky, the man of glass, the patient of glass, and so we had many things to do to show that we have the access and the authentication in a technical focus. Next flip, the e-reports which are actually implemented are the discharge summary, are the laboratory and microbiology report, and the radiology report. In implementation is now the pathology report, and these reports are now in level 2. Level 3 means attachment of images. This is also in implementation on the timeline till I think end of this year, respective beginning of next year. So next flip, please. Some milestones. So a project like ELGA is a project which needs the time. We started this project in 2004 with the eHealth action plan, 2005 with the eHealth strategy, and then year to year with new highlights. Important highlight was 2007 that we recommended EHA as base standard for all future healthcare IT projects. This decision was very important because this decision guaranteed that our software solutions at the client level could come together with the solutions at the central level. We had also this ELGA agency founded in 2009. In 2013, we had the ELGA Act in the Austrian Parliament and came to force. 2014, we had the first function to get with ELGA in contact, and last year on 9th of December we had the rollout and the go live of ELGA as we know it with the two provinces, Vienna and Styria. We are since December in production, and the system runs quite easy, and we are very happy. Next, you see the rollout timeline. In this year, we have the goal till July of this year to start the second part of our hospital providers. E-medication started in end of May. That's gone, and the next timeline is with the end of this year remaining the other algae areas. We have the goal to connect every province till I think March next year. Also in the goal is the connection of commercial providers. So besides the province providers, we have also commercial providers, and that's also an important thing to establish a market to bring such a project in the world. So I give the phone to Gruber Christian.
Well, for successful implementation of a national health record, a key factor is interoperability. So one layer, you can see on the next slide, is legal or organizational interoperability. So it depends on laws, policies, and cooperation agreements. We in Austria have the ALGA law. Please to the next slide.
Next. Yeah.
The ALGA law defines that participation in ALGA of citizens is voluntary, and for healthcare service providers it's mandatory. So, for example, for hospitals, primary care physicians, or pharmacies. It's also defined that data protection and security, so no access to ALGA health data without an electronic registration and identification is possible. It defines also the quality of documents in ALGA, and also the ban of use for insurances, government, and employers. And it contains also the timeline for the stepwise implementation. The next slide, please. In addition, patient autonomy is based on legal provisions, so the right of information to one's condition and access to data. And it's also defined the individual control by the patient through objection rules. So the patient could object against the creation of data, generally, or in the case of the treatment, or the patient can also object against the access to data, generally, or for an individual application like e-medication or e-reports for a specific healthcare provider or for documents. And all that can be done at the ALGA portal via the objection service. The law contains also the limited access for authorized health service provider. So we have 20 days access for physicians or for a physician who is doing the treatment, and 2 hours for pharmacists to get the medication list. And the law defines also the data availability in ALGA. So we have 10 years for clinical documents and 1 year for the e-medication, so for the e-prescriptions. Now let's turn your attention to the access of health information. We in Austria have the public health portal. It contains a lot of common health information and also information about the eHealth services in Austria. And it provides the login to ALGA. The login to ALGA is possible with the mobile phone signature and with your citizen card. On the next slide, you can see the ALGA portal, so the homepage of the ALGA portal. There are some tiles with different functions, so you can view your ALGA documents or your medication list. You can manage your access rights of the healthcare providers, and you can also view your access log. And as mentioned before, you can declare the opt-out, and you can get also further information. Not only the access is important, but also the meaning of the information. So this leads me to the semantic interoperability. It allows both sides to understand the meaning of the information. So on the next slide, please. The challenges to reach semantic interoperabilities are heterogeneous documents, narrative text or even handwritten text, no computer processable information, and all that leads to a possible misinterpretation. And to reach the goal, so semantic interoperability, it's necessary to have a uniform content and structure, which is user-friendly, quality assured. It's necessary to have coded entries combined with narrative text, and also machine processable information for a faster workflow, for the automation, and also decision support. And all that we considered in our ELGA documents or e-reports, and one of them you can see on the right side, so it's an example of a discharge letter. Next, to the semantic interoperability prerequisites. So there are important syntax, so we use HL7 CDA for our ELGA documents. We also use terminologies, code lists, a controlled vocabulary, and a common information model, and also
Vediamo se riusciamo a ripristinare il collegamento. Credo fossero comunque giunti alla conclusione o comunque così, esatto, così ha deciso la tecnologia.